Insight from Central Alberta Child Advocacy Centre, Understanding Trauma-Informed Care and its Impact on Vulnerable Populations. Arrival, Expectations, and Eye-Opening Realities. First impressions and the presentation. To be honest, I wasn't entirely sure what to expect when I arrived at the facility. I didn't know what we would be doing or what the field trip would really involve. But from the moment we pulled up, I noticed the colors of the building. It was warm and uplifting, and when we stepped inside, the environment was bright, welcoming, and felt safe. It wasn't cold or clinical. It felt like somewhere a child could actually relax, even while facing something difficult. I expected more of a tour, but instead we sat through what turned out to be a 3-hour lecture. At first, I'll admit I wasn't thrilled. I thought it would be long and hard to stay focused. But Ronnie, the speaker, had my full attention from the moment she began. I think many of us were surprised about how captivating she was. Her stories, her passion, and the facts she shared were very eye-opening. Case Art Program and Training. The one thing I didn't know before this visit is that the Case Art Program began in 2005 as a physician-led program in Calgary. It transitioned into a SANE, Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner model in 2018, making it a nurse-led program. I learned that every patient is followed up with a phone call, and the nurses receive 3 to 6 months of extra training to handle these sensitive cases. That level of support and specialization impressed me deeply. What stuck with me? One fact that really stuck with me was that children under the age of 11 cannot be charged criminally. I had no idea, but when I thought about it, it makes perfect sense. A child that young may not even understand what they are doing is wrong, especially if it's a behavior they see every day. Children learn from what's around them. Instead of being punished, they are supported and guided towards healing. I found that incredibly powerful. It's a system focused on compassion, not blame. I was also shocked to learn that only 25% of the information is retained after a sexual assault. That makes trauma-informed and patient-centered care even more important. And to add to that devastating reality, that in 2005, about 203 patients were seen, with only 6% of survivors coming forward. And it becomes clear how critical this service is. Between 2003 and 2004, 196 patients were seen. Those numbers are heartbreaking, and yet, knowing that Case Art is there gives me hope. Personal connection and impact. This visit meant more to me because of my own past. As a former child in and out of foster care due to abusive home, I spent many hours in police stations feeling scared and alone. The system didn't always feel safe for me. It was intimidating and unfamiliar. But as we toured the facility at the end of our visit, I was in awe. I could see the positive impact this place would have on a child. It was safe, secure, and full of compassion. It was everything I wished I had when I was younger. Someone to help me with court prep, someone to make me feel safe and seen. This place was different. Reflection and hope for the future. In that moment, touring, I felt something I hadn't expected. Relief. Relief knowing that children today might have a place like this to turn to. A place where they are not just a case number, a child who deserves healing. This visit reminded me of why these spaces matter so deeply, and how much of a difference they truly can make. Understanding trauma and mental health. Insights from Case Art. Emotional impact and trauma-informed care. Listening to Ronnie speak was incredibly insightful, but it was also difficult. The facts she shared and the memories it stirred in me made the experience bittersweet. It was hard, but it was powerful. I learned so much more than I ever expected. From eye-opening statistics to the right way to approach patients, especially those affected by trauma. This presentation taught me lessons that will stay with me for a long time. We talked about trauma-informed care in school, but I don't think I truly understood how vital it was till now. People are struggling with sexual assault or domestic violence want to feel heard. They want to feel safe when they share their story. They don't want to repeat it multiple times. One sentence stood out to me. I appreciate you telling me. It's small, but it's everything. It tells someone you matter, you're believed, you're not alone. Harsh realities of strangulation in domestic violence. We also learned about strangulation, one of the most lethal forms of domestic violence. It can kill brain cells within seconds, and after one strangulation event, the chances of being killed raises by 800%. Last year alone, there were 60 strangulation cases. We learned that petechia, tiny red and purple spots, are caused by broken capillaries, always appear above the site of injury, which is a key indicator of strangulation that nearly resulted in lethal events. This detail revealed how severe it can be, making the reality of this form of abuse chillingly clear. The Duluth model and understanding survivors. Ronnie introduced us to the Duluth model, which really helped me understand the patterns and power dynamics in abusive relationships. It's not just about individual incidents of violence, it's about how the abuser uses a range of controlling behaviors like isolation, intimidation, emotional abuse, and financial control to maintain power. The model is often shown as a power and control wheel, which helped me visualize how all of these tactics work together to keep a survivor trapped. What hit me most was learning that on average, it takes 7 to 8 attempts before someone actually leaves an abusive relationship for good. That number really stuck with me. It reminded me of how complicated abuse is and how important it is to approach survivors with empathy instead of judgment. No one chooses to be abused, and leaving isn't simple as walking away. The Duluth model taught me that safety planning, community support, and trauma-informed care are essential. As future nurses, we need to remember that we might be the first person someone trusts or the last person they reach out to before giving up. That is a responsibility we have to take seriously. Every moment of support could be the one that helps them finally leave for the last time. Addressing early abuse and comprehensive survivor support. Human trafficking starts at the average age of 13, and abuse often beginning at the age of 7, where other horrifying realities we discussed. Yet, through all of this, the Case-Art team remains deeply committed to offering support, dignity, and choice. Survivors are given option after an assault. First option is medical examination only. The second option is SAFE exam, a sexual assault protocol exam. The third option is collect a kit and hold it for 12 months without reporting it to the RCMP until the survivor gives consent and is ready. This program doesn't just address physical wounds, it validates emotional ones too. It treats patients as a whole. The impact of this model goes far beyond what I ever imagined. Trauma-informed nursing, empathy in action. A shift in perspective. This experience changed my perspective in a profound way. I now realize that trauma-informed care isn't just a buzzword. It's essential. It's not about asking what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. The shift in mindset can change a patient's entire experience. Hearing voices of survivors and how Ronnie and her team still receive messages from patients years later remind me why I chose nursing in the first place. They were that light when people needed it most. I thought about my own community and how much this kind of care in this program could help people in small towns like mine. Presence, not pressure. The power of patient-centered care. What stood out to me was how this work truly embodies patient-centered care. Survivors are given choices, time, and support. There's no pressure, just presence. The presence is powerful. Even something simple, like a meal or a warm tone, can make someone feel human again. The Barcode/Start program gives patients the availability to scan and get resources instantly, keeping their status confidential. It's trauma-informed care in an innovative way. The one who notices, nursing with a purpose. This visit reinforced for me that as a nurse, I want to be the person who notices, who sees the bruising patterns, the nervous glances, the hesitation when speaking. I want to be the one who knows what to do with the information, not just medically, but emotionally, ethically, and safely. This visit deeply reshaped how I view the social justice and advocacy in healthcare. Before this, I knew empathy was important, but now I feel it's like a calling. I saw that healthcare is more than treating illness. It's about restoring dignity, turning pain into purpose. Advocacy is a calling. It also made me more aware of how many people fall through the cracks. Whether due to age, fear, shame, or lack of support, so many never come forward. That's why advocacy matters. Only 6% report, and yet facilities like this exist, ready to help. My new belief is, if we build a safe system, more people will reach out. My past in foster care, shelters, and the court system made this presentation feel more personal. I kept thinking, what if I had this kind of place when I was younger? What if someone offered me court prep in a place like this? A kind nurse, or just a safe place to tell my story? I can't go back and change my story, but I can change someone else's. That's what this visit gave me. Purpose. I will carry this experience into my nursing career, and I will let it guide me in every patient interaction. Empathy is no longer a concept to me. It's my mission. And advocacy isn't optional. It's a duty I hold close to my heart. From trauma to trust, the nurse's role in healing and advocacy. The weight of social determinants. The population served by this facility is deeply affected by multiple social determinants of health, many of which intersect and compound with each other. One of the most prominent is income and social status. Many individuals experiencing domestic abuse, sexual assault, or childhood abuse often have limited financial resources, making it harder to leave the unsafe situation or seek ongoing support. Financial dependence can make a major barrier to escaping abuse, especially when children are involved. Another key determinant of health is education and health literacy. People may not know what resources exist or even how to access them, especially if they've grown up in environments where asking for help was unsafe or discouraged. The reality is, only 25% of the information is retained after a traumatic event like sexual assault, which shows how critical it is to provide clear, repeated, and trauma-informed communication. Gender, culture, and the roots of abuse. Early childhood experiences are also central. Many clients have experienced trauma from a young age, sometimes as early as the age of 7 in abuse cases and 13 in sexual exploitation. This early exposure to violence and neglect deeply affects development, mental health, and long-term physical outcomes. Children who grow up witnessing or experiencing abuse often normalize these patterns, making it harder to recognize the danger to seek help. Gender and culture identity also play a key role. The majority of cases are still female, though more males are coming forward now, which shows a shift, but also highlights how stigma and gender roles can prevent disclosure. People from marginalized communities may also face racism, language barriers, or the fear of legal involvement, especially with the RCMP, all of which affect their comfort in accessing services. One meaningful detail was the center's inclusion of the designated room with ventilation to allow for smudging, a thoughtful and respectful way to honor diverse cultural practices and support healing in culturally safe places. Meeting people where they are. All of these barriers impact access to care. That's why programs like Case Art are so essential. They meet people where they are at, offering a safe, non-judgmental space. The follow-up phone call from the nurse is more than just a protocol. It's often a first moment someone feels truly seen and supported. For some, it's the beginning of a healing journey. The heart of trauma-informed care. This experience was one of the clearest, most impactful examples of trauma-informed care I've ever encountered. Ronnie didn't just speak about it, she embodied it. From how she described patients' interaction to statistics she shared, everything came back to one core idea. People heal when they feel safe, believed, and supported. I used to think trauma-informed care was a set of actions or responses, but now I see it as a mindset. It's about understanding that behind every behavior is a story, and every silence might be a wound too deep for words. When someone experiences trauma, especially sexual assault or domestic violence, their world shifts. Their ability to trust, to feel control, to feel human again is deeply shaken. Nurses have the power to help restore that. My role as a nurse: witness, advocate, healer. Whether it's being the first safe person someone meets after an assault or noticing subtle signs of domestic violence, our role is critical. We're not just caregivers, we are protectors, advocates, and witnesses. We can notice what others may miss, and we can validate what others may dismiss. This presentation reminded me that trauma-informed care is not optional, it's essential. And it's not just about what we say, but how we say it. A simple "thank you for telling me" could be the most healing sentence someone hears that day. It could be the thing that helps keep them going. This visit made me more committed than ever to creating safer environments, respectful and inclusive environments. It's not just a physical space, but in the way I approach every patient. I want to be the nurse who sees beyond that chart, who listens with compassion, speaks with care, and holds space for pain that often goes unseen. Programs like this shows healing is possible, even in the aftermath of deep trauma. As a nurse, we have the privilege and responsibility to help make that healing happen. In the end, this experience reminded me it only takes one person, 2 hands, and a heart full of compassion to make a difference. Sometimes all it takes is reaching out, grabbing someone's hand, and offering support without judgment. In doing so, we can plant the seeds of healing, nurturing not just recovery, but growing a new tree of hope. As future nurses, we have the opportunity to be that one person, someone's turning point, someone's safe space, and someone's reason to believe again.